Well, let's see. I am now going to continue the Reaper storyline. No word from Argonus, Elita. I'd always admired his thoroughness. Me, I don't have the patience for that sort of work. That's why he's the brains and I'm the muscle. Drusilla is awaiting word from Artemis. Apologies, Elita, but we're still waiting on Argonus to come through. There's not much for you to do around here till then, unless you have a knack for cleaning. Herman is good at wheedling out promising stories and whatnot, but getting to the truth of those stories is a craft as delicate as weaving. I'm sure you've seen firsthand now, one bad bit of information can lead to elaborate plans coming apart at the seams. Boss! Boss! Calm down, lad. Breathe. What's gotten into you? It's Argonus. He's been murdered. What? Tell me I heard wrong. I'm afraid not. The brass-blades found him half buried in the sands not bells ago. Just lying there, like some bloody animal carcass. They're bringing him to Urog's burial chamber as we speak. Whoever did this does not know the reckoning they've got coming. Before I'm done with them, they'll be begging to crawl back into their mother's womb. I want just as much as you, Hyman. I do, but it's entirely for the boss for guidance. As you can see, Elita, emotions are running high. I should stay here until Hyman cools off. Can you let the boss know we're standing by and waiting for her command? Like as not, she's going to go pay her respects. Oh dear. Things have taken a turn for the worse. I'm not sure how long I can keep Herman from rushing off to take vengeance. Please, go and find the boss. We need a plan, and I know I'm not the one to make it. Sorry, Elita, I ain't in the mood for chit-chat. Where's the bloody keeper? My lady, pretty, the dead must be let to rest. The dead are going to have one more thing among them. If you don't shut your trap and listen. The brass blades brought in a body not too long ago. Show it to me. Ah, yes, that they did. But you are the deceased's family? If not, I am afraid we cannot. Family? Family? Argonus was like a son to me. Like a son. Ordinarily, that would be... He is interred in the innermost coffin. However, I must advise you not to gaze upon the body. If she insists, then so be it. God damn it, Argonus. I told you not to go and get yourself. Don't, Elita. This isn't for you. I'm sorry for barging in here, and for all the bluster. If you can forgive my rudeness, promise me that Argonus gets sent off well and proper. Of course, he shall be. However, if you wish to inter him within the city gates, well, such sought-after space comes at no small expense. I don't care what it costs. Just send your man to Lemur's headquarters to collect what you require. Elita, I appreciate you coming to find me, but there's someone else I have to speak with first. I'm heading to Stone, so come along if you please, but come along in silence. This is where Argonus' dear wife earns her living. Best get this over with. Argonus never forgot the debt he owed you. The debt we both owed you. Even so, his loyalty ran even deeper than that. It's a strange thing to look back on the people we were, a decade younger and a lifetime more foolish. Young lovers, proud patriots, blissfully ignorant, returned to Locus Aminus, the cradle of our people. A triumphant homecoming for the Guardians. After centuries in exile, the once mighty invaders had been laid low and driven back whence they came, and it was a banner day when Argonus was honoured with a post there. The honour and pride quickly faded when we saw the truth of Locus Aminus. We hadn't just defeated our enemies, we had clapped them in irons and condemned them to a life of servitude. Descendants of those who'd driven our ancestors north so many generations ago, made to pay for the crimes of their forebears. His superiors were certainly pleased with the poetry of it all. Argonus, however, could not simply look away from their suffering, let alone take pleasure in it. Confronted with the reality of the place we would call home, his consciousness demanded he take action. He began cooperating with the resistance, but in the eyes of Fru Mummery, they are all-seeing, and before long he was ousted as sympathizer. 'Twas only by the grace of good fortune that we escaped with our lives. I've often lain awake at night, wondering if he had outlived his usefulness to resistance, or perhaps it was a petty senior officer that orchestrated our fall. Regardless of the cause, the outcome was the same. We could never return to the Empire. We fled to Eorzea by way of Razatan, the only route open to us. Wasn't soon after stepping foot on the docks of Limsa that your luck ran out, as I recall. Stopped by yellow jackets and accused of being Imperial spies. Aye, but we still managed to make an escape. We ran and ran, terrified that our pursuers would one day catch up to us. That is, until we met you. Had you not taken us under your wing when you did, I shudder to imagine our fate.
Your gratitude's the last thing I deserve, lass. If I hadn't sent Arcanus off on my damned fool's errand, he'd still be alive. It was Orcus that killed him, and no mistake. He died for my vengeance. I can't tell you how sorry I am. No, you needn't apologize. I know he was happy. So long as he was helping you, he was happy. The blame for his death doesn't rest on your shoulders. It rests on the man, the monster that murdered him in cold blood. And I expect you to see he answers for his crimes. For me and for Arcanus. I will, lass. I will. On this, I swear everything I have to swear. We need to talk, Elita. Somewhere with fewer prying eyes. Come meet me at the bridge to the north. I owe you an apology, Elita, for not telling you everything about me and Orcus from the start. I dragged you into a fight against a foe that's cunning, brutal, and utterly merciless. I thought with all of us together we'd tip the scales in our favour. But I was wrong, and Arcanus paid the price for my hubris. That void scent we tracked in the Black Shroud was likely one of Orcus's minions, but I was too caught up in my grand scheme to realise it at the time. I should have thought about why I tried to hide the body. Your common void scent wouldn't have the guile to bury a kill, but what if Orcus taught it that as a way to throw trackers off its scent, and to dangle bait for me and mine? Orcus has used that same trick in the past, and he knows that we know it too. By dispatching his minion, we drew his attention, and Arcanus was a warning. Orcus doesn't give his brave swift deaths. He toys with them, cuts into them, and savours his screams. That's how I knew he was responsible. It's like a signature, the way he leaves the bodies when he's had his fill. I only pray Arcanus doesn't take that suffering with him to the next life. Orcus will be coming for you or me next. Not right away though, that'd be giving up on the game. He wants us to keep looking over our shoulders, sleeping with one eye open. He'll wear us down without even lifting a finger. And when he finally strikes, we'll be dead on our feet, playthings for him to do with as he pleases. That won't do. We need to bring the fight to him. No more waiting around for Elite to come to us. It won't be easy, but can I still count on your help? Argonus. Thank you, Elita. And if you've got no qualm risking life and limb to fight for Argonus, to fight for me, then I've got no qualm calling you a member of my family. Family? A curious word, that. Bloody, it's him! Elita! Orcus! Some persistent rats were nibbling at my tail. I should have known by their stench it was you and yours, Drusilla. Or should I call you... granddaughter? Shut your mouth, you thrice-damned monster! Monster? Is that any way to greet a beloved elder? Children these days. It seems one death wasn't punishment enough for you. A second should suffice for the scant remainder of your being. Elita, we're ending this here and now. Follow my lead. I thought we might savor a reunion for a while longer, but if you insist, I shall feast upon your beating heart here and now. Die! Not but dregs left in that desiccated vessel of yours. Too long has the hide been left in the sun. But your family has been replenished with fresh blood, I see. My, what a bounteous soul this one has. Your sight may be dull, but your eye is as sharp as ever. Blinding as the sun, pure as the snow. Delectable as a boar slathered in grease. I had thought to make a quick meal of you, but perhaps just this once. Forbearance is in order. Such a singular specimen must be given time to fatten, to fulfill its succulent potential. 'Twould be a travesty to consume you ere you achieve perfection. When your soul is ripe with fear, swollen with hatred, and fit to burst with despair, I shall return for you, Elita, and I shall gorge. Until that time, sup well, my grown whelp. Ooh, creepy. Curse these old bones. He was right in front of me. I could have ended it in one swing. For a moment, just one moment, I saw it all again. My family slaughtered, lying at his feet, my life slipping away. And that was enough. Doubtless you have more than a few questions. I'll answer them, I promise. But now's not the time, trust me. Standing around kicking the sand won't change what's done. Let's return to headquarters, and let the wind cool our heads. Then we can consider our next course of action. If it ain't Elita, you headed in?
The boss told me everything. That bastard Orcus is gonna get what's coming to him. He thinks he knows pain. Well, he hasn't met me.
It was my own fault. If I hadn't stood there slack-jawed, if I wasn't so damned slow, we'd be rid of that abomination once and for all. What you saw used to be my grandfather, before Orcus took over. He looks green enough to be my own grandchild now. Trick of the void like as not. It's no secret that if a void scent doesn't want to devour you, it probably wants to take possession of your flesh, but Orcus has a particular talent for it. As you doubtless surmised, he's got an insatiable craving for ether. Killing is only a prelude to the act of gulping down our essence, like a draught of ale after a hard day's work. He's old, I can't say exactly how old, and he's acquitted a taste for the finer things. Seems your soul counts among the finest he's ever seen. Things just keep getting better for us, don't they? Wouldn't be the first time someone set their sights on my soul. Is that so? Used to being a prize pig, are we? Any road, it's clear that safety is no longer something we can take for granted. Not even in a crowded street, not even in the middle of the day. Keep your eyes peeled and watch out for those terrible red eyes. We're sitting chocobos for the moment, but I'll think of something and send for you as soon as I can. Until then, never sleep far from your scythe. The boss says your family? Then your family. Let's put that bastard in the dirt, eh? For Argonis. Drusilla seems relieved to see you walk through her door unscathed. Glad to see Orcus hasn't sunk his teeth into you yet, Elita. Don't go thinking he's given up on trying, though. He's out there savouring you from a distance. Can't resist checking on his prize. Just as he can't resist seeking out morsels to tide him over till his feast. The reports we've received of a man pale as death skulking about sands prove of that. And then there's the matter of this blunted dagger. We don't know who sent it, but we do know what it means. It's a warning commonly used by the less savoury elements in Oda, a warning that the next will be delivered sharp and straight into our bellies. More fool to them, they've no notion what we've faced and lived, thinking we'd soil our small cause over empty threats. Let's hope it's nothing more than that, lass. Seeing as we need to follow up on those reports sooner or later, anyone fancy a bit of fresh air? If we catch a whiff of Orcus's foul stench, all the better. Elita, I want to ask around near Blackbush Station, and I'll head up Stone's Throw. When you're done, meet me there, and we'll share what we've dug up. Not every member of the family has the means and the inclination to live with the jewel of the desert. Some settle for something a little less lustre. Some greens, there you go, my little dear. I didn't have one of these. There you go. Happy Chocobo. I recognise that self-assured stride, a mark of a woman ready to take on the world and then some. You must be the Eorzean Reaper the boss sent word about. I am most disappointed to tell you nothing is amiss. The soldier in me would have loved to see a Reaper in action. I once fought in the Imperial Army, though you wouldn't think it to look at me now. I served proudly under Lord Valens in my youth, until the day he ordered us to use common folk as fodder in some pointless skirmish. I refused and was sentenced to death for my candor. Needless to say, I didn't keep that appointment. Compared to that evil, toothless threats and ghosts are no bother, but the less jaded are more excitable. One lass in particular has been jumping at the shadows. She claims to have seen all manner of terrors, but I suspect she'd be startled by her own reflection. Still, if you want to lend an ear to her delusions, you can find her in Lost Hope. Things are quiet in these parts, save for that lass telling anyone who'll listen about the things she's seen in the dark. Find her in Lost Hope and you're in the mood for a bone-chilling yarn. Ah! Oh, hello! Who are you? Oh, did Drusilla receive my missive? She sent someone to rid us of this terrible evil waiting in the wings. Truly she cares for us, as if we are really her flesh and blood, which is more than I could say about my own. Not once have I longed to return to that life of comfort I left behind in Garlemald, and I have Drusilla to thank for that. She isn't the reason I left home in the first place, of course. Had I not met my beloved, I would likely be feasting on lemon cakes in ignorance. In ignorance of love and of freedom, I found the former in Garlemald and the latter in Eorzea, as our new love life blossomed into something beautiful. Not every day has been easy, not even most days, but Drusilla's watchful eye has kept us safe, and our freedom is worth any measure of hardship. Such terrible fear gripped my heart when my beloved told me of the pale man he spied on the sands, but now that family has come to help, I can breathe a sigh of relief. I'm sure you wish to know how precisely to find that horrid creature, but I cannot help half so well as my beloved might. Seek him in the southeast, and pray put an end to this nightmare. The mere thought of that pallid skin sets my heart racing in terror. Seek out my beloved, so we may finally put paid to this menace. He should be just southeast of here, seeking inspiration from his latest masterpiece. Through devilled mists the hunter doth now tread, tracking the scent of quarries others dread. In darkness night cry for a keeper, lo, by your side she walks the reaper. Apologies for the effusive display, friend. I'm a poet, you see, and cannot resist putting into words the flood of emotions that accompany such a striking figure as yours. A monster. The bloodlust in his voice scent is potent and powerful. Apparently there's more pressing matters at hand. Thank you, my saviour, my godsend. Would that I could have aided you, but alas, a poet's pen is of little use in battle.
Unless, of course, that battle involves not swords and scythes, but words. Just ask the sire of my beloved, who is even now licking the wounds dealt by the invective verse I composed after he had the gall to forbid our union. A masterwork of scathing metaphor and subtle remonstration. Alas, for all their pretensions, nobles are anything but subtle in their range. We were forced to flee, to abandon our homes, with only our love for sustenance. Nevertheless, I've regretted not a single moment of our life in exile. In Eorzea we found an unexpected treasure. Freedom! Freedom of mind and freedom of heart. Ah, but I digress. Surely you did not seek me out simply to save my life and leave with a nod and a smile. Did you wish to commission a poem? The Pale Man? Aye. I encountered him whilst wandering these arid wastes. In search of inspiration, I felt the gaze of some terrible presence upon my back. And when I turned to meet it, he was standing there, grinning like a butcher in a bullpen. He wore robes, much too thick for these scorched sands, and his skin looked as if it had been kissed by the blazing sun. Worst of all, his eyes were as two bottomless pools of blood. I feared my end had come, but then he vanished as quickly as he had appeared. Perhaps I've been reckless. Recent incidents make it clear that the cost of inspiration is higher than I'm willing to pay. I shall return to my beloved, for both my safety and hers. Thank you again, my saviour. Did he go back? Oh, she's gone, he's gone. Well, I guess they got eaten. There you are, and... another one of his accursed minions. Well, I suppose we can take comfort in the fact that none of his family came to harm, yourself included. Well done. Speaking of which, what do you think of this family you've been thrust into? Speak freely. I haven't lived this long by taking offence at opinions I don't want to hear. Seems like any other family to me. Heh. Seen some odd families then, I reckon. I'd like to think we are one of a kind, though. A collection of cast-offs, unfit to live under the Empire's boot, yours truly included. Much as some enlightened types might tell you otherwise, people like to say in life they lead. That's what separates us from those bugs over there. Born queens, workers, drones, bred into roles ingrained so deeply they wouldn't know how to live otherwise, for the glory and prosperity of the hive. But we've got it in us to be different. Might be born into farming, soldiering, or politicking, but we can choose to walk a different path whenever the fancy should strike. Tain't our nature to accept our lot without question. No, we have much to believe in something, put our faith in it. Only then will we deign to march in step.
And indeed, faith of a savage stripe is one way to get us dancing to the same tune. Others might be compelled through faith in logic or law, intangible, invisible, yet cause enough for killing and conquering if suits be queen. The invaders have sullied our birthright for 8 centuries. No longer. We march for Locus Aminus, with few righteous words. His radiant Solus von Zosgavis whipped the hive into a frenzy. Once the fire is burning, the passion of the masses can't soon be quelled. What was once a wish for home became a holy mission to spread enlightenment, enlightenment which would not suffer such beliefs as the beastmen held. Countless scores rendered up their lives on the altar of the Empire, until an entire continent was united under a single Magitek fist. For those who still dreamed the dream of unity, a deed worthy of song, yet some awoke to see it for the tyranny it was, my grandfather Rulus included. Talents of the Reapers are passed down through bloodlines. Rulus was the best of us, the most accomplished and feared in the Order's long history. The duty of the Reapers, our role in the hive if you will, was to devour our countrymen from corrupt and power-hungry tyrants. When Garlemald found religion in conquest, its appetite grew to be insatiable. My grandfather pondered this conundrum for many sleepless nights, and came to a decision. He would relieve Solosgaevis of his life. "20 years ago, he slipped into the deepest chambers of the Imperial Palace, silent as a shadow, until he could hear the Emperor's beating heart. Yet when Rulus returned to me, Solus was alive and well. My grandfather, on the other hand, had a skittishness to his step, and his black hair turned a pale white. He said naught of his encounter with the Emperor, save that the most powerful man in Garlemald was no man at all. Shamed in his defeat, my grandfather sought even greater power. Bit by bit, he gave more of himself to the void scent behind his avatar. Orcus struck when Rulus was weakest, taking his flesh and soul in one fell swoop. When he was finished, not a mote of my grandfather remained in that body. There was only Orcus. The fiend flew into rapturous frenzy, and my family were his first victims. I remember the chill of his teeth sinking into my flesh, gnawing until they reached my very essence. How am I standing here before you then? Oh, Orcus gorged on a soul that night, but it wasn't mine, not exactly. It was my avatar that filled his belly. Seems that was all he could stomach. Some might consider that a lucky twist of fate, but I had little time to ponder my fortune. Fled soon as I was able, his radiance never looked so kindly on those trying to end his life, or their families. I wandered about for years until I settled here and started seeking out others like me, others who had awoken from the Empire's dream. Lemures is what we call the spirits of the dead in the Garlean tongue. A fitting moniker if ever there was one. Waking up from a long sleep ain't unlike climbing out of the grave. I can attest to that. Son of a bleeding, remind me not to give such long-winded speech when the sand is blowing in my face. I'm heading back for some ale. See you at headquarters. It's raining. Well, if it ain't Elita, you head in? Yep, let's go inside. Welcome back, boss. How was the family? Shaken, but unharmed. Aside from some tousled hair and mangled verse, Orcus left as one of his minions that binds a gift, but Elita made quick work of it. I always said she was a keeper. You have an eye for the fierce of heart. I wager she could slay Orcus all on her own. Not that we'd let her take all the glory. Of course we wouldn't. We'll all be there when Orcus tries to take his prize. I don't think we'll be waiting long either. Orcus said he'd strike when Elita was ripe with fear and hatred and despair, seasonings he'd loathe to forgo. I have an inkling how he might try to draw out those emotions, and finish off a half-eaten meal besides. Right you are, Drusilla. How many nights did you mourn your lost avatar, the wellspring of your power? I must say, it was quite the dish. Ah, I think not. Move so much as a finger, and her head will hit the floor. Ooh, that's it, Elita. That fire. I want to see it burn. I want to see it rage. I want to see the hatred seep into the depths of your soul. Shall I make this Drusilla's final breath? Or this one? It's so very hard to choose. I was right not to give in to my baser instincts, to allow the thought of your taste to simmer in my mind, as you and Drusilla formed a bond, a kinship even. Born from an understanding of her inconsequential ideals, that you may better appreciate bitter loss. But perhaps I should wait a while longer, to let the flavor of your hatred mature, and the tang of your malice rise. I can make use of Drusilla yet, revel in her screams, exalt her in misery. Ah, how splendid it will be! All the while my prized piglet growing fat with loathing and succulent with terror. Patience rewards the dutiful gourmand after all. When your tantalizing flavor has fully matured, I shall return, and I shall reap my harvest. Damn you. I will end you. God damn it, void-sent bastard, soulless piece of shite! Orcus is gonna pay for this. Aye, that's the spirit. Right. We need a plan. First things first, find out where Orcus is hiding. The rest of the family should be able to help with that. In the meantime, you need to prepare. I know you're good, Elita, but we can't leave the boss's life to chance. Sharpen your skills and your scythe.
then sharpen them once more. The boss can do naught against Orcus without her avatar. That means you'll have to do the heavy lifting. Of course, I'll do what I can to afford you an advantage. You can count on that. For Drusilla. Ooh, what's this I get? Ooh, some abilities. Offer up your flesh as a vessel to your avatar, gaining maximum. Ooh, cool. Allows for shroud gauge accumulation. So this is what I was missing. Herman seems to be in a fit of pique, her anger directed at something you cannot see. When I get my hands on him... Oh, Elita. Listen, we found out where the boss is being held, but I'm warning you, the how of it isn't pretty. An envelope arrived at headquarters this morning. I opened it and inside was... Shite. Inside was a letter written blood. There's no doubting whose it was. Orcus is revealing his own cruelty. The letter said he's waiting for us at the dusk vigil. God knows what he's doing to her now. I've called on every able-bodied member of the family for this one. We're heading out as soon as everyone's assembled. We're here, Herman, and more are waiting outside. We're ready to repay the debt we owe Drusilla, with our lives if we must. With souls courageous, hearts of hardened steel, for leader's sake, for family's ideal, into the demon's lair they soon shall tread, to end this tremor fall, his reign of dread. The boss would beam with pride to see this group of cold-blooded killers. Alright, Elita. We're ready when you say the word. This is a job for a Reaper, and a Reaper alone. What? Now, we might not hold a candle to the likes of you, but we've got skills. You'll need someone to distract Orcus, right? Then you can move him for the kill while his back's turned. Don't tell us to stay here with our thumbs up our arses while the boss is suffering. Drusilla wouldn't want you throwing your lives away. What do you know about what she wants? Herman, listen. Maybe she's right. I know she's right, goddammit. Doesn't mean it isn't safe. The boss wouldn't trust just anyone with the Reaper's arts, and Elita has proven herself worthy time and again. If you're going alone, take that with you. For the boss, no self-respecting Reaper can reap without their scythe. Now go and make Orcus rule the day he crossed into this world.
Bring her back safe, Elita. And yourself as well. Family doesn't leave family behind. Oh, blooming heck. Got half a map to travel. Wild beast within, heretics without. Suffice to say, we've many a reason to see that nothing or no one passes through these gates. Well, time to go in. There you are, Elita. My prize repast. Come forward. I can smell it. Your fear, your hatred. I don't fear you, though I do hate you. Your tender, marbled soul. My masterpiece ripe for the slaughter. I'll savor every bite, strip the flesh from your bones, crack them open to sup upon them. How I hungered, how I thirsted, enraptured by the thought of your sweet essence trickling down my throat. Never have I suffered in waiting, but in beholding your magnificence, I see it was worth every agonizing pang. I do not expect you to leap into my maw willingly, nor do I desire it. I want you to writhe and struggle into your dying breath. Do you really think me so weak? Very good. Defiance becomes you. So it begins to bore me. A noise rather. 'Tis past time you bared your belly for my blade. Prey's sole purpose is to satisfy. My word, your aim isn't precise. Ugh! How? There should be nothing left of you. Should have learned to chew your food more thoroughly. Fools, the both of you. I won't die so easily. I don't want it to be easy. Give him a taste of his own medicine gift. Rip his soul out.
No! No! This ends now, Orcus. Wait, let me. It has been a long time coming. Dripping with fear, boiled in hatred, I can still smell its exquisite aroma. Just a taste. It's done. Let's get back to headquarters, Elita. Thinks I'm easy prey. Boss, Elita. Sorry for causing you all no end of worry. In tracking me down, you risked life and limb, and for that I thank you, all of you. We didn't risk anything. We just sat here praying till you and Elita walked through the door. Don't be so hard on yourself, lass. I know each and every one of you would have joined her if she hadn't talked some sense into you. We owe you our lives, boss, but we owed it to you to return the favor. You're more than I deserve. Who forces them they hold dear into a personal vendetta? Who leads family to their death? Argonus was no fool. He knew and accepted the risks. He placed his faith in you because he believed Orcus had to be stopped, and he was right. There'll be no more victims to mourn. He helped you to achieve that victory. It'll be enough for him, and it'll be enough for me. You're right. This ain't time for a sulking. Argonus will be the first to tell me that. Now's the time to honor his sacrifice, to toast those we have lost, and those still by our sides. And to thank the brave souls that led us here. That means you, Elita, much as I'd like to take credit for Orcus's demise. It was a long, bloody road, but this marks the end of your first assignment as a Reaper. And what an assignment it was, eh? You might not be Garlean, but you tackled your task with a singular resolve that had impressed the most hardened soldier. I'm proud to call you family. We may have found the Lemures to provide a home for wayward Guardians, but we're not so different, Guardians and Eorzeans. No great revelation that, but moments like these help to put all in perspective. This family was a dream that gives us the strength to survive in a strange land. But the beautiful thing about dreams, if you ask me, is that they can change, they can get better. So I say that from this day forward, the Lemures will be united not by origin, but by purpose, brothers and sisters bound by shared convictions. I don't think anyone will object to that, boss. The Lemures are ready to welcome peoples of all stripes. Starting with you, Elita. Thought it was all but official already, eh? Aye, here's to the birth of a new family, sister. What a day it's been, eh? Hope it'll be a while yet before I've occasion to yammer on that much. Again. Too much talking's liable to put me in a sentimental mood, or worse, make me dewy-eyed. So let's leave it at that, eh? You ever get weary from the weight of the world on your shoulders? Know that the doors will always be open. And if you need an ear to bend, a shoulder to weep on, or a stiff bottle to jump inside, I'll be right here, sister. It's always a pleasure to see you walk through those doors, Elita. I know it's not very homely in here, but feel free to kick your feet up wherever so you can. Fairly news. We're doing well as can be expected, all things considered. Argonus left some shoes that are proving hard to fill, and we found ourselves with less skill at hand than we're accustomed to. Hemon is doing all she can, bless her heart. As much as she claims to hate using her head, she's showing a sharp mind for trade, and thanks to her, our cerulean business is getting back on track. Argonus's wife is making do, you'll be glad to hear. She's running her own stall and doing a fine job by all accounts. I just hope that if anyone in the family needs my help, I'll be around to give them what they need. I've heard tell of what happened in Garlemald. Just because the Empire is gone doesn't mean that everyone who floods clutches is a burning desire to return home. I take it that the Lemures will be in Ul'dah for some time yet. Can you tell me about the Reapers again? Got a lot to take in, isn't it? As we've discussed, Reaping was passed down from Guardian forebears in Locus Aminus, a humble people who spent their days farming, and they were driven by invaders with an unhospitable waste, where they turned their tools to weapons. But it ain't our scythes that people speak of in hushed whispers, it's our avatars. Through them we receive a small amount of a void sense Valen's power, giving us abilities that make even the most learned mages green with envy. Of course, not everyone is able to bind themselves to the void, even if they're willing. It takes a certain kind of person, a certain kind of soul to resonate so deeply with a void sense. One that thrives in the darkness as well as it flourishes in the light. That's what I was referring to when I said you had the killer instinct. It's a rare sort of connection to the 13th, much to Hemon's displeasure. For days she sat in front of one of those crystals, but heard not so much of a murmur from the other side. She was crestfallen, as you can imagine. Those Guardians were fortunate, although some might argue on that point, enough to be courted by the void, are given gifts that nature has denied them. They're able to drink their fill of the world's ether and much more besides. For centuries my forebears were tied to the void, and we used the strength it gave us to defend hearth and home. When invaders would threaten our borders, we'd be the ones to cut down their leaders. Under the cover of night we'd strike, just another shadow cast by the embers of dying campfires. When the sun rose, only the dead would serve as trace of our presence. Our enemies feared us, though they knew not what we were, until the reign of Emperor Solus, that is. Now, when people think of the Empire, they think of Magitech, that inexorable wave of hulking metal that few can withstand. Let's see, what do these do? Let's swap that for that. That one's there. That one's there. That one's there. No, I did have it all along. I guess I'll just put that back there then. What I'll do for now. Right, next quest up on the list is... here.
The lands were swimming beyond its gasp. Go forth, conquer, rule. The wandering minstrel has a request for an experienced adventurer. Ah, if it isn't my dear adventurer friend. Pleased that I might see you again. Have you perchance come to join us in remembering the calamity? If you have a moment, there is a favor I would ask of you. Will you not hear me out? In part due to the promotional efforts during the recent Moonfire Fair, more people are seeking to take up adventuring. Not all are yet wise in the ways of the world, however, and I fear they might fall prey to less principled types in Ulda. If one such as you were to help them on their way, I would feel more at ease. What say you? Will you not take a fledgling adventurer under your wing? I'm truly grateful. Now, I believe a carriage is due to arrive shortly. If you go and wait at the gate of Nald, chances are a soul will wander in who has just embarked upon a path of adventure. Pray greet them and offer your help. Worry not, you'll have no trouble identifying them. You'll need but look for someone absorbed in their surroundings. I dare say it will feel like glimpsing into the past, right to the part where you are greeted by a helpful stranger. Ooh, what's that? Okay. Black blossom dress. Hello, little fella. Welcome to Elita. Who are you? An experienced adventurer, you say? And you want to help me on my way? Well, I could certainly use some guidance. I've never been anywhere near as big and busy as Ulda. My name is Nagi Jackie. But just Nagi will do. And as you rightly guessed, I'm an aspiring adventurer. That's why I left my village and came here. So, I understand that you first need to register at the Adventurers Guild. Do you know where it is? Just through that door, is it? Thank you. I'll head there at once. Wait, oh. Nagi rushes off before you can offer further explanation. Perhaps you should follow him to the quicksand. In and out, in and out. Come on, Nagi, you can do it. Oh, it's you again. To be honest, I'm quite nervous. It's heartening to have you here too. Why, hello there. What can I do for you today? The lad's here to register, is he? Yes, madame. I wish to join the Adventurers Guild. My name is Nagia Jaka. I'm 16 years old, practically a man grown. Aren't we a lively one? Momity's the name, and if you want to be an adventurer, then you've come to the right woman. There's nothing to it, really. You just need to write your name in the register. Come, come. What's that? You're officially a member of the Adventurers Guild. If you ever need that bit of advice about one thing or another, pay me a visit. Just don't go bothering me every time you stub your bloody toe, alright? Of course, I do enjoy hearing tell of a gentleman's woes and with the women folk from time to time. Now then, normally I'd offer you the grand tour. But in light of present company, I reckon you ought to have it from her. She's a renowned adventurer after all, the bleeding champion of Eorzea, and you could do far worse than to get her advice. To begin with, mayhap you could recommend a guild here in Ilda for Nagi to join. If it's too noisy in here, there are benches just outside where you can have a nice little chat. With your experience, I reckon you can give Nagi some good advice on the guild to join. Go on, have a little chat and see what stuff might suit him. I must confess, choosing a guild is quite daunting. I'd appreciate any advice you can offer. Alright, let's talk guilds. I'm all ears, Elita. Adventuring can be dangerous. What attracted you to it? A merchant who was in the carriage with me, something, asked me much the same thing. At the time, I couldn't give a proper answer. I had a reason for leaving home, of course, but I couldn't express it in words. But having now set foot in Ul'dah, it's become clear in my mind. I wanted to know what lay beyond the horizon, wanted to see it with my own eyes and be amidst it. You've been to many places, right? Do you like it then? Travelling, that is? I love travelling. There's nothing like the thrill of seeing new sights. So you do, so you do. I have an older sister. During the calamity we fled to Draconia and took refuge in a village in the mountains. I ended up staying in that secluded place, and it's long been a dream of mine to travel the world. But inexperienced as I am, I don't know if I could live a life on the road. Is there a guild that could equip me with the skills I need?
One representing crafters and gatherers. I see. A place where I can learn a trade. Indeed, we can't always rely on fighting to make a living, and having the ability to gather or craft would be invaluable. If I recall correctly, Ul'dah is home to the Alchemist Guild. I happen to have some familiarity with medicinal herbs, and I dare say I could put the knowledge to use. Yes, I believe this is a guild for me. I'll go and join at once. I can show you to the guild if you like. Thanks for your concern, but I should be fine. If you still have time, though, could we meet again afterwards? There are a few more things I'd like to ask you about. Great. I'll look for you here when I'm done. You wait a good while, but Nagi is nowhere to be seen. Perhaps you should look for him, looking on him in the Alchemist Guild. Idiot! Has my mental faculties been diminished as a result? What then? The world would be forever deprived of my genius, that's what. Ah, my loyal assistant, you're come at a good time. This fool of a trainee switched my drinking water with some unknown fluid, which I unwittingly imbibed. I'm sorry, Master Severian, but it was just herbal tea. You looked weary, and I thought it might help. Why in the seven cells did you not say so first? That way I might have recorded my vital signs and ascertained the tea's effects. Such negligence ill befits an alchemist, and I ought to kick you out of my laboratory right now. Still, you completed the assigned task perfectly. In light of this, you will have earned another chance. Very well, you may serve as my assistant on a probationary basis. I'm sorry you had to see that, Elita, but it seems all is well, at least for now. Master Severian truly lives and believes alchemy. Though the tea is quite bitter, he thought only of its effects, and made no comment on its taste. I believe I stand to learn much under him, and I'll do my best not to incur his ire. I must also apologize for keeping you waiting. So engrossed was I in the potion making I lost track of time. Oh, and one other thing. As I was at my work, a peculiar minstrel approached me. He said that if I'm resolved to walk an adventurer's path, I should seek him out for a task. Moreover, he asked that you accompany me, if you're willing. He's apparently waiting at the Ruby Road Exchange. Here she is, Elita. Here he is, Elita, the minstrel. My friend, you have done a splendid job as a guide.
I was right to entrust the task to you. What do you mean to say Elita approached me at your behest? She did, I must confess. For you see, my next composition I seek to capture the essence of the times. While any number of subjects would be worthwhile, the greatest interest to me is the recent rise in the ranks of adventurers. In thus bringing different generations of adventurers together, I had hoped for inspiration to strike, and I'm pleased to say that it has. Drawing upon your experience, walking your path, you have helped Nagy to begin walking his. A reminder that the present owes its existence to the past. That is to say, the present and past are deeply intertwined. If we would capture the former, we cannot well disregard the latter, and this brings me to my next request. I ask that you each find an object with a connection to the calamity, the event which gave rise to the realm's rebirth, and present it to me with its tale. Well now, that sounds like a treasure hunt, and it'd be my very first task as an adventurer. What do you say, Elita? Shall we do it? Excellent. When you have your items, pray seek me at the Ruby Road Exchange. I eagerly look forward to seeing what you bring. There are many vendors at Sapphire Avenue Exchange, right? Chances are they'll have something, so let's begin our search there. Come on, let's begin looking around. An object with a connection to the calamity. I wonder what manner of things we'll find. Ooh, this is the local cuisine? Goodness, but everything looks amazing. In the course of your journeys, you must have sampled all kinds of food, from simple to exotic feasts. I look forward to sampling everything too. Welcome, welcome, what is it that you're after? Objects with a connection to the calamity, you say? Well, I have just the thing, an amethyst ring from Isgard, steeped in sentimental value. 5 years ago, on the eve of the Battle of Cartnu, a young temple knight set out from his homeland, wishing to do his part for Eosia, when his nation would not. Alas, the man never arrived in the flats. En route, he came upon a merchant being attacked by a dragon, and lost his life going to a stranger's aid. This was his ring, an heirloom passed down through his line. What a tragic tale, but I wonder, how did the ring find its way back? If the knight fell, it seems the merchant couldn't have survived unscathed. I remember now. Though the knight was mortally wounded, he succeeded in striking down the dragon, and with his last breath he entrusted the ring to the merchant. Yes, that's how it happened. So, what do you say? If you're interested, I would willing to part with the relic for a special price, but for today only. This feels a bit dubious. Shall we look around some more? There's bound to be some other things out here. I'm pleased to present the works of Jibindia, the brightest star in the world of glass art. His artistry and craftsmanship will astound and inspire you. Oh, if it isn't Elita, how have you been, my friend? I'm still working on my craft, as you can see, and for the Rising this year, Aston has organized a street exhibit for me. Please feel free to browse at your leisure, and don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. We're looking for objects that bear a connection to the Calamity. Do you have anything that fits the description? As a matter of fact, I do. Yonder pane, entitled The Sultana's Seven, depicts an inspiring event from the Calamity. 'Twas the final days before the fall of Dalamod. Its inexorable approach to foretelling was our impending doom. Panic spread like wildfire, while many in their desperation turned on the Sultanate. Looting and rioting broke out across Oga. To quell the masses, Her Royal Majesty Nanamo O'Nano took to the streets with a guard consisting of only 7 subjects, for they alone had the courage to stand with their Sultana. There she addressed the rabble. Heed me, my beloved citizens. The realm lies upon the brink of the 7th Umbral era, yet so long as we live, we must not forget our compassion. Now is not the time to take from your neighbour, but to proffer him the hand of succour. Brought to their senses by her words, the people laid down their arms and set about healing their wounds they themselves had inflicted upon Oda. And those who returned from the battlefield found their home as much as they left it in, a gleaming jewel in the desert. Her Majesty sounds like a great ruler. Oda is fortunate to have her watching over it. Thanks for sharing the tale. It's indeed inspiring, and you've done an incredible job capturing it in glass. So far so good. Let's look around a little more. Having an exhibit all to myself, I cannot help but feel a bit self-conscious. But at the same time, I feel great satisfaction, and it encouraged me to keep at my craft. House of Splendors, what kind of practice is this, I wonder? I see you're not familiar with the house. We offer wares in exchange for scripts, but our services are available to only those whom we know and trust. So if I want to be a customer, I need to make a name for myself. One day, Nagi, one day. Greetings! From daily necessities to unusual curios, I deal in all manner of wares. If there is something in particular you seek, you need but ask. Objects to do with the Calamity. The 2 of you are adventurers, are you not? In which case, I have something that may be of interest. It's a journal I acquired from an adventurer who retired injured. The man records his experience during the Calamity in detail, and I dare say it adds value for students of history. Oh, an adventurer's first-hand account. I'd love to pore over it. Do you keep a journal of your adventures as well, Elita? If so, I'd love to read it too someday. With your permission, of course. Oh, for another historical piece, I also have a scrapbook of articles from the Raven, Gridania's leading tabloid. These mainly cover events outside the Calamity, however. Articles from the Raven, you say? I dare say we've seen enough. Let's find a quiet spot to discuss what to bring back. An object in collection with a calamity. I wonder what manner of things we'll find. Right, this looks as good a spot as any. I don't know about you, but that was all very new and exciting for me. Talking to myriad people, learning the tale behind each object, it's been a great experience, and I won't soon forget it. Now then, we need to decide what we want to take to the minstrel. Have you made up your mind? The Retired Adventurer's Journal. I see, I did consider that too, but in the end settled upon something else. What is it? If you don't mind, I'd like to keep it as a surprise. Come, let's purchase our respective items and meet back where the minstrel waits. Oh, I've got a ton of each of these. You'll find out what I chose soon enough. Welcome back. You've each found an item, I trust. What have we here? Journal of an Adventurer, you say? Despite the vendor's claims, such records typically do not have much historical value on account of their limited perspective and inherent partiality. Yet, by the same token, they have great value to me, for they offer a glimpse into the writer's heart. There is no richer material for penning verses. Now then, what of you, young Nagi? And what might this be? It's a scrapbook of articles from the Raven. You see, my sister is a reporter from the tabloid. During the calamity, she travelled the realm, interviewing adventurers about their journeys, and I loved nothing more than to hear her tales. They seemed like such a diverse crowd, adventurers. No two people were alike, and yet they were united in the free, unshackled lives they had lived. It struck a chord with me, and in time I found myself admiring them. Looking back, it was my sister who instilled in me the desire to see the world, to become an adventurer. That's why I chose this scrapbook. I see. The footprints someone leaves on their journey becomes a starting point for another. Yes, a verse comes to me. A blessing for those whose souls are taking their first chary steps into the unknown. Pray, lend me your ears. Greetings, Warrior of Light. This is a world that exists outside of your reality. Could it be a dream? A flight of fancy conjured by your weary mind? Perhaps. Or perhaps not. 'Tis a pleasure to meet you again. As I have in the past, I have beckoned you here that I might express my gratitude. First of all, I wish to thank you for continuing to grace us with your presence. You and your fellow adventurers are our inspiration, and this shall never change. The world, however, is an ever-changing place, mysterious in its elusiveness. Unexpected hardships may turn our lives upside down, and though we all desire peace deep within our hearts, the sparks of conflict never cease to be struck. Like an adventurer's journey, the world is constantly moving towards the unknown, and it takes considerable courage to alter the course. Yet I ardently believe that it is a small but significant step in our quest to create new adventures. Indeed, another great change is about to visit the world, and it shall open the way to exciting new journeys. And 'tis our abiding hope that our journey together shall ever continue on, to the distant horizon and beyond. Now, the time has come for this vision to end, time for your eyes to open from this waking dream. Return to walking your path, and know that you are in our hearts always. Till we next meet, I bid you safe travels. Thank you for the generous award and the uplifting verse. It gives me courage for the road ahead. Speaking of which, it's time I set out on my own. Though it was brief, I enjoyed our time together, and hope to see you again somewhere out there. Pass my regards to your sister. Though much and more was lost in the calamity, intrepid souls continued to set forth, paving the way into the future. In such a moment in history do we stand, and for you I would perform another song. Your life is a riddle, to bear gladness and grief, 'neath stars and through storms, the answers to seek. Your footprints are threads to be gathered and woven, a song of dawn resplendent, dancing high to the heavens. From the embrace of the gods, though mankind has been torn, upon winds of eternal lives, and memories are born. The future is unwritten, bring it rapture or sorrow, our journey shall continue unto tomorrow and tomorrow. I wonder, how did you feel as you watched Nagi set off? Did the sight fill you with worry for a fledgling adventurer, or did it awaken fond memories of your own humble beginnings? Whichever it may be, I know that yours is a journey more trying than most. There will be times when you're overcome by loneliness. Each step feels heavier than the last. In such a moment, I bid you remember this. So long as you harbour love for this world, ever shall there be a place for you in it. Your adventures will never end.
I thank you all for watching. That's it for now. Take care, my beloved darlings. Bye.